Good evening, guys, and welcome to this was Friday night's basically MRC, the Mature Racing Club's Gran Turismo Touring Car Championship. Obviously, you know, we were racing on Friday, so we had obviously the Red Bull Ring as the first race in the Aston Martins, so it was an equal playing field, and then obviously Spa-Francorchamps for the any other GR4 cars. So obviously I'm the host with the one and only Hoppers, as most people know me as. I'm going to be doing obviously the rookies commentary from obviously Red Bull Ring and as well as Spa-Francorchamps. And then obviously as a bonus I'm going to be covering the rookies from Tokyo and Sardegna from when we were there 2 weeks ago. Because it wasn't streamed or potentially commentary. So, you know, I'm going to be potentially doing 4 races for you guys this evening. It's late in the day. I do apologise that it is later than planned. But let's get into potentially some amazing commentary. But first of all, I'll go through the grid of what happened over here at the Red Bull Ring here in Austria. And it will be very exciting, as I say. It will be potentially one of them, and potentially amazing. I think you know, the Red Bull Ring and as well as Spa proved to be a major factor in this season's championship in the rookie category. Obviously, I think there was some new drivers and also potentially some surprised results as well. But who knows? Anything could happen within the Mature Racing Club Gran Turismo Touring Car Championship. So I'll go through the grid of race number 1 here at Red Bull Ring on the glorious GP circuit. So in pole position we have just going up into I believe that's Nathan John. He's a new guy to the league. Then you have Duds, so that's Dudley in second place, followed by Thomas and Craydon, so third and fourth on the grid. Then you have Tux and Fast JMS, and then you have Craig, that's obviously DRC Craig. Then you have Les Pants, then you have Broken Legacy, Percy, myself, because yes, I am a racer in this league, and last but least at the back of the field is none other than Slow Seamus. But you know, it's going to be very exciting, so let's get into the first race and let's see how well the guys do within obviously the potentially first race here at Red Bull Ring. So yes, we'll go to the front of the grid and we'll do that now. So we're waiting for the red lights to come on as we get ready for a start. So it's going to be very interesting. Grid full of Aston Martins, and the red lights are about to turn on now as we get the green light to go. Who's going to make a start into turn number 1 here? Let's see, there's 3 cars already wide. Duds versus Thomas versus obviously Nath, but Thomas makes the lead and Duds goes on the inside and actually gets into first place there, and Thomas is going to be trying to get onto the back of Duds going up towards the second turn here at Red Bull Ring. But at the moment, I believe Thomas in the 18 car is trying to go on the inside there, which he does, but then he cuts back as Nath spins out in the Spearmint car, which is allowed Craydon up into 4th, and Fast JMS alongside Broken Legacy is also there, but Broken Legacy already in 4th place in the quick fit, followed by Craig in the Monster trying to make a move on JMS, as JMS gets a bit of a tap from Craig, followed by Percy in the Red Bull sponsored Hoppers in 8th already, Waxer in 9th, followed by Slow Seamus. He's trying to get past Waxer for potentially 9th place there as he tries to block Slow Seamus going into the back half of the field. But you've also got I believe Nath and of course Tut and of course Les Pants basically battling for 12th and 13th at the moment. We got Seamus trying to make a move on Waxer, for potentially ninth place at the moment, but it is going to be very interesting. We'll see what's happening further up the field. Craig in the monster car trying to chase down Percy in the Red Bull sponsor. To the battle of the energy drinks is potentially going to be very interesting. You got fast JMS there with his hazard lights still on. I don't know whether he's obviously put that as a distraction, but he's got Broken Legacy in the quick fit car. You've got Thomas and Craydon still battling, so Craydon made his way up into second place at the moment, but it's going to be very interesting to see what happens going into the interesting part as Fast JMS tries to make a move on Broken Legacy, which he does. Absolutely fantastic move, which is on Percy to try and gain up. Craig's dropped back a bit from Percy now, so the Red Bull versus the Monster, so the battle of the energy drinks, as I say, potentially for that. Hoppers is already still in 8th place, doing a fantastic job so far in the HKS sponsored machine, but further up the road, Percy and of course Broken Legacy are having a bit of a battle. Broken Legacy there in the quick fit car still trying to chase down Percy in the Red Bull sponsored cars, as the host sponsor for the Red Bull Ring is in 5th place, followed by Broken Legacy and of course Craig. But at the moment I believe Thomas and Craydon are having a bit of a battle as well, but we'll try and go further back to see what's happened. Nath is trying to now catch up onto Hoppers, which Waxer and I believe Tux has got past slow Seamus, but Seamus is going to be under pressure from Les Pants, but Waxer gets a bit wide there, which is allowed Tux in the Samsung car, but they have a bit of a touch. I believe Tux has a bit of a glitch, which is allowed slow Seamus to try and lynch Waxer for potentially 11th place at the moment. Has he done it? There's Pants also goes to try and go 3 wide out at the back of the corner, but anything can happen. But Waxer and Les Pants are having a bit of a battle, which has pushed Les Pants onto the grass. Les Pants would be happy in the PlayStation sponsored Aston Martin. Now Waxer has lost ground onto, well, he's now still onto the back of obviously Waxer's on the back of him, but slow Seamus up the road there. But I believe Nath John there is trying to get past Hoppers for potentially 8th place. He does, but Hoppers is probably obviously still new to the league, but you know, he's actually doing quite well to potentially push on, but anything can happen, as I say. But we'll just focus on this battle between Nath and of course Hoppers at the moment. Nath gets past him there, but that's probably a decent battle, fair play. But you've got Percy and Craig, so the battle of the energy drinks are still raging on as Craig tries to make a move on Percy going into this corner, which he does. Oh, that was an absolute fantastic move. Now that's going to push up. Potentially Broken Legacy is going to be trying to hold off these two, so the battle of the energy drink companies are going to be potentially pushing on to get onto Broken Legacy as Percy tries to make a move onto Craig, but Craig closes the door. Fast JMS and of course Craydon have a penalty, but you know, anything can happen. We're still on lap 4 out of potentially, I think it's 21 laps, but I can't remember. But you know, it's going to be very interesting. But at the moment, Hopper's still in 9th place, trying to now fend off Tux for 10th place at the moment. So Seamus and Les Pants are still there, and Waxer is still in 13th at the moment. But anything can happen. As I say, Craig's now trying to close up to the back of Broken Legacy in the quick fit Aston Martin. So anything can happen. But he's still got these guys, Fast JMS and of course Craydon. Craydon still has his penalty, but he's now going to be catching Thomas with a great speed and not Fast JMS still with his hazard lights on. I don't know whether he still has that as a distraction for people following. Craydon still there in 3rd place at the moment. He's obviously, he can't overtake because he's got with his penalty, so that's a bit unfortunate. But you know, he's going to be closing into Thomas there. But at the moment, Broken Legacy trying to break the bead and trying to put the gap towards Craig there for potentially 5th place. You've got Percy there in the Red Bull sponsored Aston Martin trying to do exceptionally well, trying to catch up to these guys. You've got Nath, followed by Hoppers and followed by Tux. Tux there in the Samsung Mobile is trying to push on for a bit as well. But as you can tell, anything can happen, and it will be fantastic to see. As Darren's just told me he shared it. Cheers, buddy. Thank you. But yes, it's going to be very interesting as Hoppers tries to gain some more ground on Tux, but Tux has actually got the move done. Slow Seamus in the other HKS sponsored Aston Martin. So the two HKS cars at the moment are battling as Hoppers picks up a penalty, and so does Seamus. So this is going to be very interesting. Tux also has that penalty, but going back to this battle, Broken Legacy has got a bit of a gap. He's got a bit of a jig in the jive because he's got a bit of a twitch, but Craig's under pressure from Percy at the moment, because Percy is going to go on the inside, which he does. Craig gets rid of his penalty just before the corner, but you know, the battle of the monster and versus Red Bull, you know, as I say, but fair play, that was actually a fantastic move. But it's going to be very interesting. Craig's still got his penalty, which he's going to be pushing him a bit to try and get onto the back of Thomas, but obviously Duds is going to be potentially in first place at the moment in the Aston Martin. Obviously they're all Aston Martins, obviously, but you know, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Broken Legacy breaking the split now between him and Craig. Percy's also there. Nath John in the Spearmint car, he's also chasing these guys down. You've got Tux, and Slow Seamus now has got past Hoppers, but you know, Hoppers obviously struggling with obviously the grip of the Aston Martin at the moment, but you know, anything can happen. Les Pants also in the PlayStation. Aston Martin will be catching up to Hoppers very quickly, but you know, Les Pants still has his left hand indicator on, or is it his hazard? No, it's his left hand indicator. It's going to be potentially very interesting to see what happens as Hoppers gets a bit wide going out towards the final turn. Is he going to hold off Les Pants? They have a bit of a knock, but that doesn't really matter. Hoppers is obviously defending for his life as we get up to the front. You've got Tux and of course Slow Seamus battling for 9th and 10th. Slow Seamus gets the move done into turn number 1. Tux concedes the place, so the HKS versus the Samsung Aston Martin. Anything, as I say, anything can happen in this mature racing club Gran Turismo Touring Car Championship. Tux has a bit of a jig there, which has probably unsettled him a bit, but as you can see in the background, there's Panthers trying to make a move as Tux tries to make a move on Slow Seamus going into turn number 2. But anything can happen, as I say. Oh my days, but this is going to be fantastic. Les Pants still with his left hand indicator on, tries to put Hoppers at bay, trying to say that, you know, come on mate, move out to the left. But you know, Nath trying to chase down Percy now. I believe Craig is now got past Broken Legacy for 5th place. Yes, he has. Fast JMS in the Michelin Aston Martin there. Craydon's still in 3rd, but with a 1.7 penalty. He's obviously struggling at the moment. Thomas and Dudley are still going to get onto each of his heels as Craydon runs wide there, but you know, Dudley and Thomas are going to battle. So the 18 versus the blue and white car going into turn number 1. Thomas ducks into the inside. Is he going to make a move? No, because Duds closes the door. But this can happen. Very interesting with these guys. I'll tell you what, we'll go back to that battle very shortly. But Fast JMS has his penalty as well. Craig and Broken Legacy. Broken Legacy on the inside into turn number 1. Craig shuts the door though, but runs a bit deep into turn number 1, which has allowed Broken Legacy to try and quickly get up to the back of none other than Craig. Craig now has a penalty, which is going to be a bit unfortunate. Broken Legacy tries to go on the inside. Yes, he does. But Craig closes the door, still runs wide though. Oh, Craig's had a bit of a tap, but oh, that was a bit unfortunate. Broken Legacy has got past. Nath is now going to catch up. Percy still with his hazards on. I don't know whether he means it as a distraction. So Seamus, 9th, Tux still in, potentially now in 10th, and there's Pants in 11th. Waxer has got past Hoppers, but Hoppers is going to be gaining on him, as you can see here. But this is going to be probably very interesting. Waxer breaks into the 2nd turn. Hoppers is right up on his back, but unfortunately, from what I've just seen there, Hoppers has obviously got held up a bit with Waxer slowing him down a bit, which was a bit unfortunate. And that is not really exactly what happens within potentially. Waxer's obviously, you know, he's pushing a bit, but you know, fair play. But you've got Percy got past Naif's got past Percy, potentially with Percy's hazard lights. I don't know. Yeah, he's still got his hazard lights on, but that's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Craig still has that penalty past JMS, and Creighton still have penalties. But this is going to be very interesting. Thomas with a penalty and Dud's trying to overtake him. Is Dud's going to make the move before turn number 2? Or is... Oh, that's going to be very interesting. Dud's gets alongside, gets the move done, because Thomas goes a bit wide. But this is going to be probably fantastic. Let's see what's happening further back, because I believe Hoppers is still trying to get on to the back of Wax the... But Hoppers is going to be pushing on the HKS machine. Look at him, he's lurking in the background. But obviously this is going to be potentially very interesting. Hoppers in the HKS car pulls alongside Waxter before turn number 1, but Waxter's fighting back. But Waxter goes a bit deep, Hoppers goes a bit there, Hoppers goes a bit wide. But Waxter, what is going on? Hoppers is trying to get a move done. But you know, Waxter's forcing Hoppers onto the grass there, which is a bit unfortunate. Hoppers is probably going to get frustrated because he's trying to make a move. Waxter there, let's just carry on for a moment with this battle. But this is going to be close. Hoppers is still trying to gain onto the back of Waxter. Waxter is just eking out, trying to eke that gap. But we've got this battle between Slow Seamus, Percy and Broken Legacy. Broken Legacy at the moment still has a bit of a jig and a jive, but Percy with his hazard lights on still holding up Slow Seamus at the moment. But it's probably distraction tactics. We know exactly how distraction tactics work. You've got Fast JMS from Creighton still there. You've got Thomas and Dud still battling, but Hoppers in the HKS Aston Martin isn't giving up on Waxter there. Waxter is trying to defend like mad from Hoppers, but Hoppers is trying to get past. Waxter gets on the grass there, but I don't know whether it was a little tap. But Thomas is coming back to Duds, trying to make a move on the inside. Yes, he does, but he goes a bit wide, which allows Duds back through. What a move! What a absolute move there! Oh, I can't believe what I am seeing. But you know, Creighton is also still in this, trying to join this battle, but with this penalty, he can't shake it off at the moment. Fast JMS there in the Michelin car, still potentially pushing on to Creighton. But I'd say what, it's going to be very interesting. Craig with that penalty, he's got Nath in the Spearmint car trying to chase him down. You've got Broken Legacy, followed by Tux, followed by Percy, and of course there's Slow Seamus. I believe Slow Seamus went into the pits, or has he lost ground? But Waxer and Hoppers are still battling for 12th and 13th at the moment. But anything can happen. We'll go back to this battle between Thomas and Duds at the moment. Thomas is on the long side, Duds going up the hill, going on into the last 2 turns to see who gets the lead. Thomas there in the 18 car, followed by Duds in the blue and white car. This is going to be very... Oh, they have a bit of a touch, but that's allowed. Thomas has gone into pit lane. I don't know whether Thomas was meant to go into pit lane, but it looked like they were having a bit of a battle. So Duds now goes into the lead of the race, followed by Creighton, and then of course Fast JMS, and then obviously Craig and a bit, and they've John potentially going to be in 5th and 4th and 5th. Yes, they are. I believe Thomas will be eking out that gap now. He actually now will probably rejoin it in 4th place, which Tux is now 8th, followed by Percy and Slow Seamus. Slow Seamus actually dives into pit lane. There's Pants in 11th, followed by Waxer, and of course Hoppers is potentially still trying to get past Waxer for potentially 12th place. But as I say, anything can happen in this race. You've got Creighton 2nd, Fast JMS in 3rd, followed by Thomas, and now Craig, and of course Nath, and then obviously Broken Legacy and Tux, and obviously Percy and Slow Seamus, and of course Les Pants also jump into pit lane. But Waxer at the moment trying to fend off Hoppers for his dear life. This is going to be pretty much interesting. Hoppers there in the HKS is lurking. You know, Hoppers is trying to do his absolute best, trying to catch up to Waxer. Waxer locks up into turn number 1. Hoppers runs a bit deep, but he is going to be passing with great ease. We'll see what goes on within these two battle. I believe there's a bit of a battle further back. Yes, there is, between Nathan Tux, but I think it looks like Tux is slowly but surely gaining. But the battle between Hoppers and Waxer is getting a bit heated. But I think Hoppers is there now, trying to still lurk in the background, as I say. But you got Craden and Fast JMS in pit lane, which has allowed Thomas back up into potentially second place. But Craig, Craden and JMS are in pit lane, so anything can happen with these guys. But we're going to go into Nath jumps into pit lane, which has allowed Tux potentially up into 6th, maybe 3rd place at the moment. So Seamus there, Waxer, and of course Hoppers are still battling. I believe Hoppers is getting almighty frustrated. You know, Waxer is trying to put his car where Hoppers wants to put his, but anything, as I say, anything can happen in these races. It is going to be very unreal. But as I say, it will be very interesting. You got Percy and Broken Legacy now battling as well. This could be very interesting. Red Bull versus Quick Fit, but Percy still has his hazard lights on. I don't know if he's aware, but you know, it's obviously a distraction tactic as Percy tries to make a move into the second turn. Broken Legacy runs deep, which is allowed Percy through, but Percy gets a jig and a jive going out with that second corner there. Excuse me. Well, you know, Broken Legacy there is trying to potentially push on. Got Nathan, Slow Seamus, and of course Les Pants Hoppers in pit lane. So I believe Hoppers wants to get some fresh tyres and just try and keep his head down for the rest of the race. He comes out in pit lane. You've got, I believe, Duds here. So Dudley at the moment in the lead of the race. He's diving into pit lane. Thomas is going to be there, but is Thomas going to get into the lead before Duds gets out of pit lane? We shall see, but anything can happen. You've got Craden still with a penalty. You've got Fast JMS trying to catch him slowly but surely. Fast JMS has actually been in pit lane twice. I don't know whether he's had an issue, but Tux there jumps. Tux has jumped into pit lane, yes he has, but it's going to be very interesting. Craig at the moment into 5th place. Got Percy still battling with Broken Legacy, and of course Nath. Nath's trying to make a move on Broken Legacy into turn number 1. Is it going to happen? Oh, you got Percy as well, so free course battling. Oh, it's got a bit close and fraught. Nath gets a bit of a twitch, which has allowed Percy to get through. Tux is also there. Tux with the 5/10th penalty, should I say. But anything can happen. Tux has got to be careful with his penalty. Oh, we've seen Nath John and of course Percy battle, but Percy's still got his hazards. What's going on further back? Let's have a look. Is Waxer and Hoppers are at it again. They're having this battle. Hoppers wants to get past the black and orange car before it's too late, but Hoppers is on a mission. Obviously Hoppers with his tyres up to optimum temperature now, but Waxer is running a bit deep into turn number 1, which has allowed Hoppers alongside. But anything can happen. 56 versus the HKS car. Waxer is still there. What is he doing? He's obviously trying to defend like mad from Hoppers, but Hoppers is on the inside going into turn number 2. Hoppers needs this. Hoppers is going to try and make a move. He does, or is he? No, Waxer slows him down on entry. But Waxer gets a bit of a slide going out of there. We'll go back to the battle very shortly. But you've got Nath versus Tux, and also Percy jumps into pit lane, so he's obviously left it a bit late. But you know, fair play. But you've got Duds and of course Craden and of course Fast JMS still running there for potentially 2nd and 3rd. But Thomas is eking out that gap. You know, he's doing exceptionally well. But Hoppers is trying to get onto the back of obviously Waxer, but Hoppers is sliding. I don't know whether he's struggling or he's just having a bit of an issue there, but we'll see what happens, because Hoppers is on course, potentially trying to get past Waxer for potentially 12th place. We'll try and join this battle for a moment or two. But 56 of Waxer versus Hoppers. The HKS car is going to be pulled alongside. Waxer thinks about it. You know, he's obviously. But this is what Hoppers doesn't want. He doesn't want to get hauled up by the other car in front, but Hoppers is going to try and make a move. You know, he's going to go for his trademark. He gets a better run out of Waxer, who's obviously a bit slow out of that final turn. But Hoppers is alongside him. He's going to be potentially pushing on it. Hoppers is going to make a move into turn number 1. Is he? Or is Waxer going to... Oh, Waxer gives him a bit of a knock. Hoppers flashes the lights in a bit of anguish there. Obviously Hoppers wasn't happy with that move. Percy drops off the load, which is allowed Les Pants into 10th place. Slow Seamus 9th, Broken Legacy in 8th, followed by Tux and Nath John in 6th and 7th. But Craig versus Fast JMS versus Craydon and of course Duds and of course Thomas. But these guys are eking out that a bit of a gap from each other now. Obviously Hoppers and Waxer are still having a bit of a battle. This is probably the main key battle at the moment, potentially for potentially the last place in the race. But you know, Hoppers is obviously see Waxer breaking a bit later and obviously trying to defend like mad from Hoppers, which is, you know, slamming his brakes on into the corner, which has allowed Hoppers essentially lose mentality and potentially momentum. He's done it, you know. Hoppers is pushing, he's pushing because he wants to get past. He's sick of being slowed by the car in front. But Hoppers is going to have to learn. He's going to have to, obviously, a Slow Seamus and Broken Legacy battle for 8th and 9th, just coming into that corner. You've got Tux and Nath John also doing exactly the same. So the Spearmint versus the Samsung car. Samsung car. Tux gets a bit wide, but tries to take Nath on that side. Broken Legacy also trying to fend off Slow Seamus, which he does for the time being. But I tell you what, Slow Seamus goes across the glass. But Broken Legacy is also there. Slow Seamus has the outside line, but he's got it. He's got the move on Broken Legacy. I believe Hoppers now has got past Waxter for 12th place. Yes, he has. He's obviously had enough of being held up, but I tell you what, Percy in 11th and Waxter, he's obviously, you know, he's got obviously Thomas and of course Duds and Craydon are still battling for 2nd and 3rd at the moment. Got Fast JMS in 4th, followed by Craig, followed by Nath and Tux. Slow Seamus and Broken Legacy, Les Pants, Percy and of course Hoppers and of course Waxer. But Waxer's under threat from Thomas, but Thomas has a penalty, so he's not going to be able to unlock. He's not going to be able to put a lap on, of course, Waxer for at the moment. But anything can happen. But you see Thomas there, he's going to probably try and get the moves done. You know, you've got Duds and Craydon battling for 2nd at the moment. Is this going to be very interesting? Duds versus Craydon. This is going to be proper close. But Duds is holding on for dear life. Fast JMS there in potentially 4th place at the moment. Craig spins just as we join into the 3rd turn there. What a bit unfortunate. So there's a yellow flag that's going to be pushing a bit. You've got Tux and Nath still battling. Slow Seamus breaks the bead from Broken Legacy. Les Pants, Percy and of course Hoppers is holding on for dear life at the moment. He's obviously, you know, he's feeling a bit more relaxed now. Thomas gets past potentially Waxer to put a lap on him now. Thomas will potentially now catch up to Hoppers to put a lap on Hoppers, but Hoppers knows the drill. But Duds and Craydon battling for 2nd and 3rd at the moment. Craydon thinks about trying to catch up. This is going to be potentially very interesting, should I say. But this is where it gets very exciting. Craydon gets a bit loose going out on the 1st turn there. Fast JMS is slowly but surely catching him up. But anything can happen. You've got Craig in 5th, you've got Nath with a penalty. Tux is behind him. Is Tux going to make a move, or is he going to be a bit of a lock-up for Nath there? But Tux is thinking about it. The Spearmint versus the Samsung. Slow Seamus. Let's have a look what he's doing there. He's obviously keeping an eye on his battle ahead. Tux and Nath has that 1 second penalty, but Tux is going to go on the inside. Nath locks up, but Tux cuts back. Bit of close the door moment there. Nath closes the door. Broken Legacy, followed by Les Pants and Percy. Percy still has his has the lights on. Hopper's still in 12th, and Waxer in 13th. But you know, anything can happen. I believe Thomas is going to potentially try and put a lap on Hoppers, but Hoppers will potentially move out the way. He's a kind racer, you know, he knows to score with people. But I believe it's going to be pretty much Hoppers runs a bit wide into the final turn, just as we see. But you know, I think Hoppers knows will potentially. Yes, he's moved over. He's picked up a penalty there though. But I believe Thomas will potentially do that. You've got Dudds with a penalty, followed by Craydon and Fast JMS. Craig still there in the Monster Energy car in 5th place. Nath in the Spearmint car, followed by Tux there, and potentially Slow Seamus, and then obviously Broken Legacy and Les Pants, I believe. Percy still there in 11th place, still with his hazard lights on. I don't know whether he means it or not, but you know, anything can happen. Hoppers in 12th, followed by Waxer, and then obviously Thomas still having a lead of his race. Obviously Dudds and Craydon, so they can't overtake each other, but that's going to be a bit unfortunate, which probably allows Fast JMS to potentially get onto the podium, providing these guys technically don't hold each other up. But we will see. Obviously Fast JMS and Craig, you got Tux finally got past Nathan. Slow Seamus up into 7th now, trying to chase after Tux there, but it is going to be very interesting. Broken Legacy still doing well in 9th place in the Quick Fit car, and Les Pants and PlayStation Aston Martin in 10th place. Percy in 11th, Hoppers in 12th, and Waxer in 13th. But Thomas is probably going to be pushing on. He's pushing on so hard, he's having a bit of a jig and a chive going into the final 2 turns. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens within this race, but as I say, anything can happen, but it is going to be potentially an easy idea to go into the last part of the race. Obviously Dudds and Craydon are still going to be there. Hoppers is ahead of these guys, but obviously Hoppers is a lap down, but Craydon and JMS obviously followed by Craig, and obviously followed by Tux and Slow Seamus, followed by Nath, who actually locks up into that turn there. Broken Legacy, Les Pants, Percy, and of course Hoppers. But Waxer is also trying to push on, but he's a bit far back from Hoppers now, but anything can happen. But Thomas gets a bit of a wiggle, as we see there, but Dudds gets rid of his penalty, so that's now allowed him to break free from Craydon. Craydon's also under threat, should I say now, from Fast JMS. Anything can happen with these guys. Craydon with his penalty potentially is going to be, I believe that was Dudds having a bit, but you got Hoppers there and could probably potentially put up a fight. Essentially, obviously Hoppers is a lap down, but as I say, Fast JMS is going to try and get past Craydon for 3rd place, so Fast JMS potentially wants to get past Craydon, but I see that Dudds is going to probably try and get past Hoppers before the end of the lap. But at the moment, Thomas there in potentially 1st place. Craydon still under threat from Fast JMS. Slow Seamus and of course Tux are still 6th and 7th. Nath and Broken Legacy are 8th and 9th. Les Pants and Percy are 11th. Hoppers runs a bit wide going into the final 2 turns. I believe Thomas potentially still leading the race at the moment. You've got Craydon and of course Dudds with these penalties, which is our Fast JMS to potentially catch up to the guys. No, Hoppers in the background. Hoppers is a lap down, but you know he's going to be potentially doing well. Waxer is trying to potentially let Craig pass, but Craig's going to probably get frustrated within potentially as Tux finishes actually 5th. Tux finished 5th ahead of Craig. I believe Craig had a bit of an issue. Slow Seamus potentially in 8th, followed by Broken Legacy and Les Pants. I believe Percy will come home 11th. Hoppers will come home 12th. Waxer in 11th, but Thomas leads the race on the final lap of the race. Craydon and of course Dudds are battling. Fast JMS gets a Fast JMS there knocks Craydon up the backside, but that's allowed him up into potentially 3rd place. So Craydon with his penalty won't like that. But obviously Dudds is still going to be potentially 2nd. Thomas coming up the rise at the moment, potentially going to be in for a good night of racing for him. It's going to be very interesting going into the reverse grid race at Spa-Francorchamps. But Thomas comes across the line now to take a first victory in the Aston Martin. Picks up a penalty for his dues, but never mind. Fast JMS tries to get past Dudds for the 2nd place, but Dudds has hold the line Is he going to make it? Yes, he has. Fast JMS comes home third, followed by Craden, and obviously Hoppers will come home in 12th place. Whew. But yes, that was obviously the Red Bull Ring. But we now move on to Spa-Francorchamps in Belgium. So we just hop a bit into, potentially, hop a bit over the border into Germany and then into Belgium. But it will be potentially very interesting to see what happens. It will be potentially very interesting to see what happens. Let's see what goes on within, obviously, Spa-Francorchamps, because Spa is one of the mega circuits. I do like Spa myself, as I say, but it will be potentially, as people say, when they're taking their other halves out for a spa day, they don't mean a proper health spa. They obviously mean Spa-Francorchamps. Yes, I had to put the joke in there. But yes, guys, the mature MRC, which is the mature racing club, and the Gran Turismo Touring Car Championship. As I say, I'm new to obviously this, but I've offered to do the rookie commentary for potentially the rookies. So it will be very interesting to see what happens within each of the moments. But yes, it will be very interesting. So I hope you're enjoying the stream, guys. If you like what you're seeing here, please do like and subscribe to my Hoppers Motorsport Vlogs YouTube channel. It will help us out massively, as well as MRC, to get noticed. So, you know, I do a lot of commentary myself. I do obviously commentary for Elder Sim Racing, as I was doing before. But yes, we are going to get ready for Spa-Francorchamps, and you know, Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. Yes, obviously, I like, as I say, I like Spa. It's obviously another favourite circuit of mine for some bizarre reason. So yeah, if you obviously like I say, if you like what you see here, guys, please do like and subscribe. It will help us out as per usual. And yes, it will be amazing to see what you guys will be seeing. So as I say, we are getting ready for potentially the reverse grid race of the evening. So you have Waxer followed by Hoppers, Percy, Les Pants, Broken Legacy, Slow Seamus, Nath John, Craig, Tux, Craden, Fast JMS, Duds, and of course Thomas. But before we get into that, I will just go through the grid slightly. So Waxer in the Megane, followed by Hoppers in the BMW. The BMW does have an advantage here because it is rear-wheel drive, followed by Percy in the Ferrari, followed by Les Pants in another BMW, Broken Legacy in the Audi TT, followed by Slow Seamus in the Citroen. Yes, that's right, a Citroen. It is quite rapid. It is a concept car, followed by Nath in the I believe he's in the Mercedes. Yes, he is, followed by Craig in the Porsche Cayman, and then Tux in the Peugeot, followed by Craden in another Cayman, and then obviously Fast JMS in a TT, followed by Duds in a Scirocco, and then obviously Thomas in another Cayman. So let's get ready for the reverse grid, and let's see what happens here at Spa-Francorchamps. So the lights are about to turn to red. They will be turning to green any moment. The revs are building, as you can tell. It is going to be very interesting to see who leads into the first corner at the source. Will Hoppers get to jump off the start as the lights turn to green, as Percy in the Ferrari gets up into the lead going into the source? It's a bit fronted behind. Percy gets through. No, he doesn't. Oh, Hoppers gets involved in that, which has allowed Slow Seamus in the Citroen to get up in front. Poor old Hoppers had a bit of a disaster. He got off the line very well, but Slow Seamus, followed by Nathan Broken Legacy, going up towards E-Rouge and Radion, bumping and boring, and obviously, oh, this is going to be fantastic stuff. Look at that, the Samsung RCZ. Oh, this is going to be fantastic. Oh, I can't believe what I'm seeing already. Percy in that Ferrari, Broken Legacy, and Tuck still battling away, potentially with Nath in second, Percy in the Ferrari after his moment at the source there. under threat from Fast JMS there. This is a bit late breakers. But Nath gets swamped by a gaggle of cars. We'll see what's going on. Duds in the Scirocco and Percy. And the Ferrari, oh, it's 3 wide. Essentially, Fast JMS and Duds bully each other. 2 Audi-powered cars there. Waxer is up into potentially Hopper's still in 10th place at the moment, but Slow Seamus and Tux are trying to lead the way at the moment. Slow Seamus on the outside. Tries to make a move, but this is going to be fantastic stuff. I can't believe what I am seeing. Hoppers has a penalty. I think Hoppers is struggling after his early moments, but I tell you what, fair play, he's not giving up. Craydon and Waxer are battling, so Waxer and McGann versus Craydon in the Porsche Cayman, but anything can happen. Les Pants, I believe Les Pants got caught up in that. He's now 13th, so poor old Hoppers is having a bit of a nightmare, as well as Les Pants. But Tux in the Peugeot is leading Slow Seamus in that Citroen, but Craig's behind. Craig hops the curb and gets spectacular there. Can we just go back slightly just to see what happens? We'll go with Craig at the moment. Just give me a moment. He flies through the air. He hops the curb. Well, yeah, that's fantastic. But obviously, Broken Legacy in 4th, followed by Nath, followed by Duds, followed by Fast JMS, and of course Thomas in the Twix-sponsored Porsche Cayman. Percy there. Hoppers is still in 10th place. He's actually doing okay just to keep up with these pack, but he's struggling. I believe Waxer and Craydon are going to be catching him very shortly. But there's Pants there in 13th, catching up Waxer. But this is going to be potentially interesting as we go towards the bust-up chicane. I believe there was a move. Fast JMS and Duds were getting frantic, as well as Nath John, but Craig's also still in 4th, followed by Broken Legacy and of course Slow Seamus. Tux going into the Source in the Samsung Peugeot at the moment, followed by Slow Seamus in the HKS Citroen. Duds goes a bit deep. Fast JMS gets a bit of a shove from, I believe that was Nath, which is allowed. Oh, but Waxer gets it all wrong. But what's going on? Hoppers in 10th place at the moment, followed by Craydon. Craydon's going to be on a mission. He'll be catching Hoppers very shortly, but anything can happen. It's still early days going into the race, but I'll tell you this is going to be fantastic stuff. But there is a lot of cars and it's going to be frantic here at Spa. Spa's a bit narrow. You've got Fast JMS versus Duds versus Nath. Fast JMS, oh, is he going to make a move? Oh, he knocks Duds a bit wide. Duds knocked him a bit wide as well. They're having a bit of a battle, which has allowed the Twix-sponsored car of Thomas to try and join in its battle. Oh, Craydon and Nath are trying to... Craig, sorry, not Craydon. Nath has got rid of his penalty now, which is going to be potentially allowing him to catch up to Craig at the moment. Broken Legacy still having a bit of a twitch in that Quick Fit Audi TT at the moment, followed by Seamus in that Citroen. But anything can happen. Look at this, Craig, the curb hopping king, as I'm going to call him, potentially pushing his way in 4th place. But you know, he's got a penalty, so he's not going to be able to overtake. Is he going to run wide and clip the curb like he did last time? Or is he just going to keep it together? He's just about to keep it together. Broken Legacy 3rd place. Nath runs a bit wide, which is good. Oh, he spun. He spun. Oh, put the mockers on him there. Let's just have Fast JMS there to get Duds. And the next gen, Fast JMS runs a bit wide. Thomas is under he's putting that next gen car of Duds under threat, as well as Fast JMS. Oh, what's going to happen? You've got Duds here. Oh, Duds is offending like mad, but you've got the Twix car. Oh, they're both run wide. Oh, that's going to get frantic going into the bust-up chicane. You've got Duds there in the Scirocco versus the TT versus the Cayman. Can't really see what's going on, but Duds is there. Oh, Thomas has a penalty. Oh, Percy is there. Obviously, Nath versus Hoppers versus Craydon versus Les Pants and Waxer. Unfortunately, struggling at the moment. Excuse me, Slow Seamus in that Citroen. I'll try and go on board with the Citroen just for a moment, just to see what it's like here at Spa-Francorchamps. Obviously, look at the detail. Going up towards Eau Rouge now, and then obviously up to Radion. He's going flat out. Wow, what can I say? but this is going to potentially be equally fast. You got Duds trying to chase down Craig, followed by Fast JMS, followed by Thomas, followed by Percy, now in that Ferrari, making amends for potentially lap number 1, where unfortunately Hopper's got tangled up, but Nath has got to be careful. Hopper's there in the HKS BMW. Potentially, he's doing okay, but he's got Craydon in that Porsche Cayman now, potentially pushing on. Hopper's obviously, you know, he's not raced many miles around Spa before, but Les Pants, he's also trying to push on in the PlayStation M4 there. Got Waxer in potentially year 13th, Slow Seamus still trying to catch up to Tux. So the two French manufacturers, the Peugeot versus the Citroen. You got Broken Legacy versus Craig versus Duds and Fast JMS and Thomas there. So the Twix car versus the Audi TT. That's going to be very interesting. Percy versus the Mercedes. So Percy in the Ferrari versus the Mercedes. Craydon's now finally got past Hoppers. Hoppers must be struggling, because Les Pants is also trying to catch up to him there. So the HKS versus the PlayStation M4s. You know, it's going to be very interesting. As I say, Waxer in 13th. Tux has a penalty. Oh, this is probably going to be into the hands of Seamus there. Look at that Citroen. But yes, you've got Broken Legacy 3rd, you've got Craig 4th, you've got Fast JMS and Thomas. Thomas is going to catch. What happened to Duds? Because Duds has dropped down to 7th. So the Scirocco now 7th. And then you've got Nath versus Percy. Percy's going to have to defend, but Nath's going to come on the inside. Oh, they have a bit of a touch, but guess what? Nath gets past with ease, but Percy in the Ferrari's going to catch him. Anything can happen. You've got Thomas versus Fast JMS. So the Twix sponsored Cayman trying to catch now onto the Audi TT. But this is going to be very interesting. Let's see what's going on. There's Pants. Oh, he's going to be catching up to Hoppers. Hoppers has a 5/10 penalty. I believe Hoppers is struggling in that BMW. I don't know whether he's struggling with early damage or he's just taking a leisurely drive. At the moment, Waxer in 13th place, but at the moment there's Pants makes a move into E-Rouge, not E-Rouge, the Source. Duds, he's trying to now catch up to Thomas and of course Fast JMS. But anything can happen, as we've got Craig here in the Monster Energy Porsche Cayman. Now going to be pushing for 3rd place on Broken Legacy. Oh, they have a bit of a moment, but that's not too bad. So Seamus now, he's up to Tux his rear bumper. Oh my goodness, what is going to happen? Tux has that penalty. Oh, he's having a bit of a... So Seamus there. Oh, Seamus is going to potentially push on. Is he, or is he just going to wait for the opportunity? Broken Legacy trying to hold off Craig for 3rd place at the moment. Thomas now has got past Fast JMS, but you have Duds potentially pushing on here. Oh, this is going to be fantastic. I can't believe it. Craydon and Percy, followed by Craydon. Craydon's got up into 9th place. We didn't see what happened. Percy and Les Pants, followed by Hoppers and Waxer. But at the moment, Slow Seamus is fast approaching Peugeot. You got Broken Legacy in the TT. As Duds runs a bit wide. Broken Legacy hops the curb, just go back slightly, just briefly, just for a moment, just out onto camera shots, as we go through, as Duds runs wide. Yes, Broken Legacy gets a bit of airtime, which has allowed Craig to get up close, but obviously Duds is struggling in that Scirocco at the moment. So Seamus in the Citroen is catching up to none other than Tux in that Peugeot. But anything can happen. I believe Craydon has dropped to Percy. Les Pants catching up to Percy now in that BMW. So the BMW is catching the Ferrari. Hoppers there in the HKS still suffering a bit. Waxer in 13th. Slow Seamus, where is he? There he is. He's fast approaching as Craig actually gets past Broken Legacy. I think that was done towards the bus stop chicane, but you know, Broken Legacy on the inside for turn number 1. So going into the Source, is he going to make a move? But speaking of a move, yes, he has made a move. Slow Seamus in that Citroen, should I say, is potentially now going to catch up to Tux, going up to E Rouge. Potentially, will he make a move into E Rouge? Then up into Radion. Let's see. No, he doesn't. Not just yet. But he gets a better exit than Tux, though. And Craig's also there. The TT versus Broken. Obviously, Craig and the Cayman versus the TT. Craig gets alongside. So Seamus up the road in the HKS, sponsored, potentially. Gets a move, tries to get a move as potentially it is going to be very interesting. As I say, Slow Seamus is trying to push Tux to a limit. Craig there in potentially third place as Broken Legacy in the TT is potentially going to be pushing on again, but Thomas in that beautiful Twix Cayman is going to be potentially pushing on. Oh my goodness. And you've got Dudds there, 6th place, followed by Nath in that Mercedes, Fast JMS, followed by Craydon, followed by Percy and Les Pants, and of course Hoppers and Waxer. But there's going to be a battle for potentially first place between Tux, Seamus, and of course Craig in that Monster Energy Cayman. Is going to be, oh my days, is it going to be 3 wide? No, it's not, but Seamus and Craig are battling. Oh, it's going to be potentially 5 cars. What is going on? But this is going to be unreal. Tux in the Peugeot is holding off these guys at the moment. His heart must be in his mouth. Seamus in that Citroen is trying to get past. Broken Legacy in the TT is also there, followed by Craig and followed by Thomas. What's going on? Tux is going to get a move, but is Seamus going to get the move done, or is Tux holding on? Craig's also in the background. Look at this. Oh my goodness. The 2 French cars. Oh, Seamus runs wide, but Seamus gets it in the Citroen. Oh my goodness, Craig's up into 2nd as well. Wow. Oh, Tux is under pressure. Seamus has to brake, which has cost him time. I believe that had cost him time, but whether that was time because he cut the corner or whether he was just doing it to be kind, I don't know, but that's allowed Craig into the lead of the race, followed by Broken Legacy and Dudds at the moment. And of course Thomas Slow Seamus now in that Citroen, now 5th place, and Nath is also up into 6th place, but at the moment Broken Legacy, followed by Craig, followed by Dudds, and followed by Thomas. Oh my goodness gracious. Oh, Craig's holding on for dear life, going up to E Rouge and Radion. Oh. The Cayman's getting swamped by the Scirocco. But this is very interesting. We'll go back to that battle in a minute. So Seamus, 5th place, followed by Nath, followed by Craydon, followed by Tux, Percy, Les Pants, Fast JMS. Hoppers is in pit lane, which Waxer is. Hoppers rejoins. Oh, what happened there? Broken Legacy having a bit of jig and a jive, which is now Craig into 1st place. Dudds there in the Scirocco, followed by Broken Legacy. Oh, Broken Legacy is obviously having issues, which Thomas gets alongside Seamus there. Oh, Seamus spins. Oh my days, Seamus will not be happy with that. He drops down to 6th place, which is allowed Nate potentially into 5th place. You've got Broken Legacy still in 4th place, followed by Thomas in the Twix Cayman out in front. Craig goes a bit wide. He's under threat now from the other Cayman of Thomas there. The Monster Energy versus the Twix Cayman. Oh, they have a bit of a tap. Oh, that's unfortunate. Craig's not going to be happy with that. So Thomas now in 2nd place, Craig now in 3rd place, followed by Broken Legacy and followed by Nath, Slow Seamus, followed by Tux, followed by Craydon, followed by Percy, followed by Les Pants, Fast JMS, and of course Hoppers and Waxer bringing up the field. But at the moment Dudds is leading the race, but at the moment Craig is going to be fired up. Anything can happen. Broken Legacy 4th at the moment. Nath in potentially in 5th place. Slow Seamus, after a bit of argy-bargy and a spin, is in 6th place. Tux is behind him. But Craig at the moment, gets a tap from Broken Legacy. All three of them have gone into pit lane, which is now allowed Slow Seamus excuse me, Slow Seamus actually goes into pit lane, which is allowed Tux into second place. So Duds and Tux stay out. Craydon and Percy go into pit lane. That's allowed potentially now Les Pants. Les Pants goes into pit lane. So that's allowed Hoppers to potentially on his outlap. Oh, he's a bit far back at the moment. Poor old Hoppers struggling with Waxer in potentially in 13th. Tux still in second, followed by Thomas, followed by, oh, there's a gaggle of cars coming out of pit lane. That's Craig, Broken Legacy, and of course Nate, Fast JMS. Oh, Fast JMS is alongside Craig going up to E Rouge. Oh, he's got the move done before Rodion. Oh, runs a bit wide though. Craig runs a bit wide on exit. Broken Legacy, they're having a disco. But you know, it's going to be very interesting indeed. I can't believe what I'm seeing. You've got Broken Legacy and Craig versus Fast JMS. Oh, this is gonna serious. Oh, Fast JMS goes across the chicane, which he taps Craig on the rejoin, which has allowed Nath to potentially get past Fast JMS there. Craig's holding on for dear life. Slow Seamus in that Citroen. He's going to be catching these guys as well. Craydon Knights. Anything can happen at the moment. Oh, Craig's coming back to Nate. Oh, Craig gets a bit crossed up. He's got cold tyres, if you remember. Some of these guys got cold tyres, but Fast JMS. Craig flashes the lights in anguish, trying to say, come on, mate, you know, you're holding me up now. But this is going to be very interesting. I can't believe what I am seeing at the moment. This is going to be potentially very interesting. But yeah, it's going to be potentially very interesting. Oh, I can't believe what I'm seeing. But we'll go back to the... Oh, Craig gets her crossed up. He's had a bit of tap with... I believe that was a bit of contact with Fast JMS there. Oh, that's a bit unfortunate, which now Slow Seamus up into 7th. Nath is going to be putting Broken Legacy under pressure. I believe Thomas in the Twix sponsored Cayman is doing into the place, followed by Tux, followed by Duds. Broken Legacy under pressure from the Mercedes. Well, that's going to be very interesting. Slow Seamus, Craig in 8th now. He's got Craydon behind him. Oh, this is going to be very interesting. 2 Caymans, so the Monster Energy Cayman versus, I believe, I don't know what Cayman that is, but Craydon slowed down a bit. Percy now in 10th, followed by Hoppers in 11th, but Hoppers is struggling. I believe Les Pants is going to catch him as well. Waxer is there, Duds and Tux, followed by Thomas. Broken Legacy still in 4th place at the moment, followed by Nate, followed by Fast JMS. Slow Seamus in the Citroen is going to catch these guys. Craig still in 8th, followed by Craydon, Percy and there's Pants, followed by Hoppers. Hoppers is struggling like mad at the moment. I believe he's blessed him in the HKS BMW. Must be struggling. He's obviously not, as I say, he's not done many miles around here. Waxer 13th, but so far Duds is leading the race, followed by Tux, followed by Thomas, followed by Broken Legacy and Nath. Then you've got Fast JMS. Slow Seamus will go on board with Slow Seamus. You can just see the guys ahead of him at the moment. We'll just go on board with Slow Seamus' Citroen for a moment or two, just around this glorified Spa-Francorchamps circuit. But as we got Broken Legacy trying to be under threat from Nath there, but Nath's got a penalty, so he won't be able to overtake. Broken Legacy runs wide. But is that going... Oh, the bit of touch. Oh, Nath has a penalty there. He's obviously... don't know whether that's going to count, but Broken Legacy still having a disco in his Audi TT. He's going to be under threat from none other than Fast JMS in the other Audi TT. Broken Legacy, he's still having a disco. Oh, Broken Legacy, he loses ground to Fast JMS. Oh, so Seamus also in the Citroen now going to be catching up to these guys. He's doing... Oh, I believe that now... was that Broken Legacy? Yeah, Broken Legacy's TT had a bit of damage, so he ought to be retired. Craydon under threat from Craig, but Craig has a penalty. Percy and Les Pants are 9th and 7th. Duds goes into pit lane, which is allowed Tux into the lead. Hoppers in. Hoppers goes off there. Hoppers goes a bit wide. He goes off a bit wide into gravel. Wax is there as well, but Tux at the moment is allowed. Is closing the gap. He's got the lead. You got Nath versus Fast JMS and Slow Seamus. So Seamus is on a massive. He's on a massive charge. Oh my days! As we're going to be seeing what goes on, but it's going to be very interesting, as I say. It's been thrown nearly goes, but it's going to be a fantastic end to this race. I tell you what, it's going to be very interesting, and I will tell you this: there's got Tux there in the Samsung RCZ. It's going to be very interesting, as I say. You've got Thomas followed by Nath, followed by Duds. Duds has a penalty. Slow Seamus in that Citroen is going to catch up. I can't believe this. Slow Seamus yet again in that Citroen. He knows how to plant it. But this is going to be fantastic. You know, you got Craydon, followed by Craig, followed by Percy, who there's Pants, Hoppers. As Hoppers goes into the source, but Wax is there trying to chase Hoppers down, but anything can happen in these races. As we see Duds and Fast JMS, I believe Slow Seamus, yes, that's right, Slow Seamus, chasing down none other than Fast JMS. Anything can happen. You got Duds and Nath trying to battle now, 3rd and 4th. This is going to be very interesting. I can't believe this. But yes, I believe Tux at the moment in that Samsung RCZ. He's doing very well. Thomas potentially now in the Twix car 2nd. You've got Duds and Nath battling away. But I believe... Oh, Duds is going to try and make a move on Nath. Yes, he is. Oh, a bit of a touch. Which has allowed Nath to potentially get a bit sideways. Duds is also there. Oh, I believe the Duds and Nath are still battling for 3rd and 4th. Yes, they are. So Seamus is going to now put Fast JMS under a lot of threat in that Citroen. Anything can happen. Duds is fighting with Nath for 3rd place. The Mercedes versus the Volkswagen Scirocco. Duds makes a move. Oh, he looks up into the bus stop chicane. But that's allowed. Nath to get a bit of a gap. You can just see the Citroen and Slow Seamus get past Fast JMS, but Slow Seamus there. Oh my days, this is going to be interesting. Fast JMS tries to think about making a move into the source, which he does. Slow Seamus will get the inside because Fast JMS runs a bit wide. Slow Seamus now is on a mission in that Citroen. Craydon staying 7th, followed by Percy, followed by Les Pants, followed by Hoppers and Waxer. I believe Craig dropped out as well. Craig's had mechanical issues in his Porsche Cayman. But Slow Seamus at the moment in 5th place in that beautiful Citroen. He's got a 5/10 penalty, but he's going to be pushing on. He's not giving up. He's not going to give up. Tux there, still leading the race, followed by Thomas, followed by Nath, followed by Duds, and then obviously followed by Slow Seamus, Fast JMS, and Craydon Percy. Les Pants, Hoppers in 10th, Waxer in 11th. But as I say, anything can happen in this race. But it is going to be very interesting. Duds there, still trying to chase after the Mercedes. Slow Seamus's Citroen is also behind these guys, but at the moment is Seamus going to get it done. You've got Fast JMS as well, but we'll go to this battle between Duds and of course Nath. Nath breaks a bit late. Oh, this is going to be interesting. My voice is really going. But you got Duds versus Nath there, potentially pushing. Oh, side by side there. Oh, Duds gets the move. Duds gets the move, but they're still side by side. Nath gets to move, Duds gets to move rather. Nath cuts the grass, he's not a lawnmower. But speaking of lawnmower, speaking of Citroen power, that Citroen slow Seamus is going to be catching them up now. He's going to be really catching up. Duds is going to be put under pressure from Nath as we go into the latter part of the stages of this race. Anything can happen. I believe there's a sign on there. I believe that was a bit of a mistake, but look at this. You've got Tom. Oh, Nath loses control. Slow Seamus in the Citroen. Oh, he's got Nath in front of him, but Seamus is going to put Nath under a lot of pressure. So Duds now escapes the beam and escapes the toe. Excuse me, escapes the toe of Nath, but Nath is got slow Seamus alongside. Seamus gets the move done before Rouge. What a move! Oh, that Citroen there potentially been on a bit of a move there, as I can tell you. This now, it's going to be very interesting, and it is going to be potentially amazing to see. But hopefully, you know, anything can happen within each of their own, and you know, it's going to be potentially a bit of a move. But as I say, anything can happen. But yes, I do apologise. I'm just trying to check that the stream was still working. But you've got Thomas there potentially pushing on. Duds still in third place. Slow Seamus rather in fourth place, followed by Nath, followed by Fast JMS. Creighton's got a penalty. Percy there, still struggling in the Ferrari. Les Pants and Hopper's at 10th, 11th. Waxer, no, 9th and 10th rather. Waxer is 11th. Thomas is going to be under a lot of pressure from Duds. Is it going to potentially hold on? Thomas in the Twix now will be under a lot of pressure from Duds, but look at this slow Seamus in the Citroen. It is going to be very interesting. I can't believe this. It is going to be interesting yet again. You got Nath, followed by Fast JMS, followed by Creighton, followed by Percy, Les Pants and Hoppers. Poor old Hoppers is having a bit of issues at the moment. Tux and Thomas there in the Twix sponsored Cayman, breaking into the bus stop. Is he under threat? He's gone a bit wide. Stud's going to try and get him. But this is going to be very interesting. Thomas versus Duds. Are they going to have... Oh, Duds is trying to make a move on the inside of outside of the source. He tries to make the move now, but Thomas has the line for Rouge, but Duds has got past him. But this is going to be very interesting, I say. Duds up into second now. Fast Thomas in second. Slow Seamus in that Citroen in fourth, should I say. And Nathan fifth. Fast JMS in sixth. Creighton still seventh. Percy ninth. Les Pants in ninth. Hoppers 10th. Waxer 11th. Tux still in the lead of the race. But you've got Duds and Thomas battling for second at the moment. Thomas is thinking about getting to the back of him. So the Twix sponsored car versus the Next Gen Racing Scirocco there. It's going to be very interesting. So you got Thomas versus and Slow Seamus. I don't know how far. We'll just go on board, as I say, just for a brief moment, just to see exactly what it's like. You can just see the cars up ahead, but it's going to be very interesting going into the latter part of the stages. I believe Thomas there is still trying to chase after Duds at the moment. Is it going to be all or nothing? Duds is throwing everything. Thomas gets a bit slippy and slidey with a drift. But Tux there in that Samsung Peugeot at the moment, holding on for dear life in first place. Slow Seamus in that beautiful Citroen, still in fourth, followed by Nath, followed by Fast JMS. Creighton's now trying to catch up to Fast JMS. You've got Percy, Les Pants, Hoppers, and of course Waxer. But of course, Tux at the moment is eking out that lap. but he's going to do well. You know, you've got Thomas there, essentially doing very well. Tux is going to probably win this race. Slow Seamus though, fair play in 4th place at the moment, but Nath fast. Oh, Creighton goes a bit wide. That's going to push him a bit down now. So I believe Tux now comes through the final bus stop. She's going to take a well-deserved victory in the reverse grid race here at Spa-Francorchamps, followed by Duds and of course Thomas, and so Seamus in that Citroen in 4th place, followed by Nath into 5th place. Fast JMS will come home in 6th place, followed by Creighton. So Creighton and Fast JMS. So Fast JMS comes home in 6th, followed by Creighton, and then obviously Percy in that Ferrari. After a bit of a spin at E Rouge in the first lap of the race, but you know, fair play. Les Pants will come home in 9th place, followed by Hoppers. Hoppers is potentially struggling around here. I believe Waxer finishes 11th. Yes, he does. Les Pants locks up, going towards the bus stop chicane, but never mind. He will come home in 9th place. Got caught up in that incident. The BMWs were meant to be strong around here, but never mind. He will come home in 9th. Hoppers at the moment on the last part of the lap. We'll just go on board with Hoppers for a brief moment as he bins it into the gravel there. Oh, what a shame. He's obviously Knight's gone back from bad to worse there with Hoppers. Puts on the wipers for some bizarre reason. I don't know whether he's accidentally flicked the wiper switch, but you know, fair play to him. He's not given up. He's finished potentially, I believe, he obviously still finished 10th because it would have been because Thomas still finished 3rd. Oh, he goes a bit wide there. He's obviously struggling because I believe his tyre wear he's gone off a bit, but you know, anything can happen in this race. It's going to be fantastic to see how they get on next week. But you know, fair play to Hoppers. He's obviously got that penalty there. He's obviously kicking himself after, you know, he couldn't avoid Percy at the start of the race. But fair play to him. He's coming home in 10th place because even though Thomas finished 3rd in that race, Hoppers will come home, and you know, fair play to him. He never gives up. So yes, I'll just go through quickly the comments. Darren's obviously shared it. Craig, good evening, mate. Sorry, I was obviously trying to do my best at commentary for this. Yeah, you've got Darren Baldwin saying hello, mate. How are you, my friend? But yeah, I'm gonna have a couple of minutes break, and then we'll go for 2 weeks ago, where the opening races for me in MRC Gran Turismo Sport Touring Car Championship was held at Sardegna, and we'll just quickly have a 2-minute break, and then we'll get on with the action and potentially see what is happening within each of the streams. I'll tell you this, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens within each of their own, and I'll tell you this, it's going to be very amazing to see what happens within the racing from obviously from when it was Sardegna and obviously when we went to Tokyo. So I'm going to have a bit of a 2-minute break, just to give my voice a bit of a break for a second, and then we'll get straight into the other action. And as I say, I do apologise for it being a bit late in the day to do this commentary, but you know, anything can happen. But obviously it's going to be fantastic to see within each of their own. So let's have a bit of a break. Okay guys, I do apologise, I'm just having a 2-minute break while we just got my voice back into gear. So this was the first race I did for MRC, but obviously I'll go through the grid that happened here. As we'll go through the grid for potentially this race at Sardegna. As I say, it is going to be very interesting. Evening Dart Smoker, how's it going, mate? So yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see. Got CRT Miggins on pole position, followed by Donny, followed by Rise Remix, followed by Craig, followed by Tux and Craden, followed by Duds, Les Pants, Broken Legacy and Percy, and myself and Slow Seamus, and of course Fast JMS at the back of the field. So as I can say guys, it was a very eventful race here at Sardegna, and it would have been probably nerve-wracking for some time, but let's see what happens in the race. We're on the B circuit and it's going to be very interesting, so let's get into the race. So we'll see what happens with the starting entry. The revs are building for these Aston Martins, and we'll see what happens as the lights turn to green any moment now. It has to do, yes. And let's see what happens. A bit of a box standard start there for potentially Miggins, followed by Donny, followed by Craig, and followed by, I believe, Craden, as well as Rise Remix and Tux, followed by Broken Legacy and Les Pants, and of course Duds, and of course I believe Percy and Hoppers, yes, followed by Fast JMS and Slow Seamus are battling away. But it is going to be very interesting. CRT Miggins at the moment leads the race in the PlayStation Aston Martin, followed by Craig, followed by Craden, Rise Remix and Tux, and of course Duds go free. Whoa! This is going to be very interesting. I can't believe what I'm seeing. Les Pants. Oh, look at this. This is fantastic. Oh, this circuit never fails to amaze. Tux versus Broken Legacy. Broken Legacy tries to split the pair of them. A little bit of interest. Slow Seamus and Hoppers had a bit of a tap, but Hoppers there still in 7th place, followed by Fast JMS, followed by Seamus, and of course I believe Donny had a bit of issues there. Craig runs a bit wide. It is going to be very interesting. Tux there is going to be potentially pushing on now to get up to Craden, and Craig Miggins still leads the race. But you got Craden and Craig still battling, so yeah, this is going to be very interesting. Oh, the 999 Aston Martin gets past the Monster Energy car. Yes, he does. Craig flashes the lights. You've got Duds and Tux still in 4th and 5th. Les Pants trying to hold off Remix. First is Percy, Slow Seamus, and of course Fast JMS. Hoppers in 11th, followed by Broken Legacy now in 13th. Donny will try and get past Hoppers for potentially 12th. Yes, he 11th rather. He does that. Hoppers will be in Fast JMS there. Hoppers is now 12th. Fast JMS, followed by Seamus and Percy and Remix. These two are going to have a bit of a battle now. So that's going to be pretty much interesting. But anything can happen with this lot. You got Les Pants still in 6th place, followed by Duds and Tux. So Duds and Tux, yeah, it kind of rhymes. But obviously you got Tux trying to fend off Duds at the moment, so obviously Craden gets a bit crossed up going into the final bit. It's just going to be very interesting, but it will be potentially one of them. So Tux has a bit of a gap now trying to get up to Craden. That's going to be very interesting. So Tux gets the move done. on Graydon now, so he now chase after Craig, but Graydon's going to try and close the door. Miggins, Craig gets a bit crossed. Oh, he gets crossed up. Which brings out a yellow flag, but Duds and Graydon are there with Les Pants, so it's going to be pretty much interesting. Miggins still leads the race at the moment. Graydon is going to be under pressure from Les Pants. Duds is also going to be there, but Remix in the green car there. Oh, this is going to be interesting. You've got, Remix gets past Graydon, and yeah, because Graydon goes wide, Les Pants is still there. It's going to be very interesting. Fast JMS followed by Percy, followed by Slow Seamus, followed by Donny. Craig now under threat from Hoppers, but Hoppers is a bit back there. You got Broken Legacy 13th. So CRT Miggins still leading the race, but look at this is fantastic. These Aston Martins, excuse me, are pushing. Duds gets a bit wide. Les Pants will probably pounce potentially onto the back of Duds if he's not careful. You got Rise Remix there trying to potentially do a lot of battles. That's going to be very interesting. Graydon is also there. Fast JMS is under threat from Percy, and Slow Seamus also puts Percy under a bit of pressure. Oh, there's a bit of battle. Graydon on Remix, but Remix gets past. Almost has Les Pants as well. This is going to be very interesting to see what happens. Graydon runs a bit wide, but Rise Remix is also trying to get past Les Pants. As we get Graydon there, oh jeez, Les Pants is still hanging on. Rise Remix still trying to get past Les Pants, which he does, but Les Pants is coming back to him, which is allowed Graydon as well to close up. Fast JMS. This is going to be interesting. Fast JMS, Percy, Slow Seamus, and slowly at the back as Fast JMS tries to make a move. Which Graydon runs a bit wide into the gravel, which is our Percy up into potentially 7th place, followed by Slow Seamus. And of course Donny is also now battling with Graydon. It is going to be very interesting. But Graydon's also there. Craig's still there. Hopper's trying to chase him down, but fair play. Broken Legacy having a bit of a nightmare at the moment, but I believe the battles between Les Pants and Fast JMS at the moment, and Slow Seamus, and of course Percy, this can be very interesting between these 4 cars. But you've got Slow Seamus and Percy, and of course Les Pants, and of course Fast JMS. But Percy gets crossed up, which is allowed Donny to catch up. So Donny makes the move, which he does. Percy there, Slow Seamus 7th, Les Pants 6th, Fast JMS in potentially 5th place, followed by Rise Remix and Duds, and Tux and TRT Miggins. But anything can happen still. You got Slow Seamus and Les Pants potentially battling away now. So this could be very interesting. Slow Seamus, is he making a move? Oh, they have a bit of a banging door moment there. Les Pants locks up, which allows Slow Seamus to try and potentially push on. You've got Rise Remix and of course Duds battling for 4th and 3rd at the moment. This is going to be very interesting, as I say. But you've got Slow Seamus, now got Fast JMS alongside him. This is going to be interesting going into the latter part of the lap. But Slow Seamus there against the Michelin car, so both, there's quite a battles galore going on further round. We've got obviously Les Pants alongside Slow Seamus, and I believe Donny and of course Percy are now going to catch these guys up potentially if he's careful. But yes, you got Craig still in 10th, followed by Graydon that now has Hoppers trying to fill in his rear view mirror. You got Broken Legacy trying to chase down Hoppers, but anything can happen, as I say. But it is going to be very interesting as Pants comes under pressure from Slow Seamus. Obviously it's going to be very interesting come the tyre wear factor, of the Aston Martin GR4. As I say, anything can happen, but these races live up to their expectation, so it's going to be very interesting indeed. But you've got Slow Seamus potentially trying to eke out that gap. It is going to be potentially one of them. But Slow Seamus on the move, trying to get past Les Pants and probably fast JMS rather. You've got Dud still in third, followed by Rise Remix. You've got Tux still in first, CRT Miggins eating out that lead. But it is going to be very amazing. Rise Remix potentially going to be very interesting. But it will be one of them, and I'll tell you this, it is going to be very interesting to see what happens as Slow Seamus gets past Donny, potentially for potentially now 4-7, followed by Craig, followed by Les Pants and Percy and Craydon. Craydon is obviously had a bit of a gap from now Hoppers, so Hoppers is going to be potentially pushing on, but Broken Legacy is going to be catching him. It's going to be very interesting. Rise Remix and of course Duds potentially going side by side up and over the hill into the tight and twisty bit now. But you can see here that Duds does not want to give up chasing down third place at the moment. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. But I'll tell you this, I don't know what exactly is going to happen. Tux there is going to be potentially chasing on Fast JMS, followed by Donny, followed by Slow Seamus, and then Craig, Les Pants, Percy, Craydon, Hoppers, and potentially Broken Legacy are going to be doing exceptionally well. It's going to be very interesting, but Dodge runs a bit wide. Oh, Dodge runs a bit wide, but he's not giving up, he's not giving up, he's not giving up. But it's going to be interesting. Oh, Fast JMS as well as Rise Remix. Donny's going to be also joining the battle. They're going to make it 4 wide. 3 wide, are they? Oh my days. So you've got Fast JMS followed by Duds, followed by Fast Remix, and of course Donny. Slow Seamus is also in this battle. Oh my days. It's going to be fantastic. But yes, Muggins is definitely, or Miggins is definitely smashing it, should I say. But yeah, it's going to be very interesting, as I say, going into obviously this part of the race. But look at this, Donny and Duds are under threat. Oh, but look at this, Duds is under threat from Donny. Slow Seamus also there, the Irishman. Oh, look at this, the Irish Leprechaun is going to strike. But yes, Duds makes the move. I do apologise, but yes, it's going to be very interesting. But yes, it's going to be potentially very interesting indeed, as I say. I can't believe what I am seeing, but obviously, you know, as I say, Slow Seamus followed by Duds, followed by Donny and Rise Remix. But as I say, it's going to be one of them. Fast JMS in third place, followed by Tux and Miggins. But I've got Donny, so I would say you got Rise Remix for 4th place at the moment. This is going to be interesting. Oh, this is brilliant stuff between these pair. Who's going to be the last break? Oh, yes. Rise Remix gets the move. Donny fights back though. Potentially going to be one of them. Slow Seamus, the Irish Leprechaun, as I'm going to call them for now. But you know, it might be a bit of an insult, so I better not be. But you know, Donny has the move on Rise Remix, just going into shot, and potentially Slow Seamus is also joining in this battle now. So as I say, Slow Seamus is going to be battling. You've got potentially Donny under a lot of threat. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens with Slow Seamus. But obviously, we'll just go further back a minute. There's Pants and Percy, obviously 9th and 10th. Craydon has a big gap from Hoppers now. Hoppers has a big gap from Broken Legacy as he walks up. But Rise Remix here is going to be very interesting, as I say. It's going to be pretty much interesting. I can't believe what I'm seeing. Rise Remix versus Donny versus Slow Seamus, but Slow Seamus, the Irish leprechaun, is under threat from Craig at the moment. You know, it's going to be fantastic to see. I can't believe what I'm seeing. Are they going to dive to pits? Oh, Donny dives into pits. I thought Seamus and of course Craig were going to dive into pits, but now's the time to change tyres. Obviously, it's going to eat, you know, Slow Seamus. Potentially, he knows how to master these cars here. Well, it's looking like the Rise Remix now is potentially pushing on to try and catch up to Fast Seamus. Slow Seamus still under threat from Craig in the Monster Energy. But look at this gap. Obviously, Miggins versus Tux. We'll try and go into potentially the bottom half of the field, but obviously at the moment can't, because Slow Seamus is under a lot of threat from Craig as the wind turbines are blowing in the wind up on the hills. But this is going to be fantastic. Slow Seamus at the moment on Craig. Oh, is Slow Seamus going to make a move? Or is Craig going to get the move covered? Craig gets the move covered. Yes, he does. Slow Seamus there is going to be potentially going to be a heck of a racer. This is going to be. It's going to be very interesting. But I can't believe what I'm seeing. But we'll go back to the battles at the moment. Is there any battles further back? I believe Hoppers at the moment is now going to be under threat from Broken Legacy. Yes, he is. But never mind. Oh, Craden and Percy have had all synchronised. Didn't see what happened there, but you know, Rise Remix and Tux are still out there. Slow Seamus and Craig, oh, they're still battling. This is going to be interesting. But yes, this is going to be very interesting. As I say, it's going to be one amazing atmosphere. As I say, Slow Seamus now going to try and catch up to Fast JMS, but oh, anything can happen. Tux there still in 5th place now, trying to chase as we've got Slow Seamus and Craig. Yeah, Craig's run a bit wider to Slow Seamus, potentially to jump into 3rd place. Fast JMS 2nd. I believe Hoppers now will get past Craden, because Craden's coming to pit lane. Or no, he's coming out in front of Hoppers. Poor old Hoppers has had a bit of issues, so obviously Broken Legacy and both Craden have got past Hoppers. But I'm looking at this battle between Craig and of course Slow Seamus for potentially 3rd and 4th at the moment. The tyres must be going off these cars now, but Fast JMS is also there. But as I say, anything can happen. It is going to be very interesting. I can't believe what I'm seeing. It is going to be pretty much interesting. Are they going to dive into pit lane? Yes, I believe both are. So Seamus and Fast JMS go into pit lane, so Craig stays out for another lap. So potentially now going to try and catch up to Miggins for the time being. Tux there and Donny, followed by Rise Remix, and of course Slow Seamus. I don't know whether Slow Seamus has had a bit of an issue. He's allowing Rise Remix to get past him, followed by Duds. Duds and Seamus have a bit of a prang. But that's going to be very interesting. Slow Seamus probably wants a better starting position for race number 2, the reverse grid race at Tokyo. But you've got Les Pants in 9th, followed by Percy, followed by Broken Legacy and Craden, and none other than our own Hoppers battling it out. But Craden and Broken Legacy have broken the gap from Hoppers, so Hoppers goes into the pit lane. I believe Duds and Slow Seamus are still battling. Yes, they are. So the Duds versus Slow Seamus. Seamus drops it onto the gravel. It's going to be a bit unfortunate. I can't believe what I'm seeing. Slow Seamus here jumps into potentially 7th place, does he? Yes, he does, because Duds is still there. So we are on lap 12 at the moment, but it is going to be very interesting. Craig now jumps into pit lane. Miggins still stays out. Tux will still regain 2nd. Donny in 3rd, followed by Fast JMS and Fast Remix. or Rise Remix should I say. And Slow Seamus and Dud still battle Les Pants, Broken Legacy and Percy or 10th and 11th. Craden still 12th, trying to catch up to Broken Legacy. And then obviously Hoppers in the HKS still in 13th. At the moment Miggins still leads the race, followed by Tux, followed by Donny. And obviously Fast JMS and Rise Remix are now going to be battling, so it's going to be pretty much interesting to see what goes on with these guys. It will be obviously amazing to see what happens, but Rise Remix and of course Fast JMX are battling for 4th and 5th at the moment. Rise Remix gets a bit of a lock up. Oh, it's going to be, gets a bit crossed up, which is like Slow Seamus. Dudge runs a bit wide. Slow Seamus is going to be pushing on a bit, but you know, oh, Slow Seamus gets past Rise Remix for 5th place. What a move. You got Craig there potentially battling with Dudge there for 7th. There's Pants, Percy, and of course Craden and Broken Legacy. Now Hopper's still suffering a bit, but you know, he's doing okay so far to try and keep up to this group. But Rise Remix, as I say, is potentially now going to catch up to Slow Seamus for 5th place yet again. Duds and Craig still battling, so Duds and Craig are battling, yes. This is going to be very interesting, as I say. But obviously Duds versus Craig, and then obviously got Seamus and Rise Remix at the moment. Percy and Les Pants a bit far behind. Craden and Broken Legacy followed by Hoppers in 13th. But anything can happen. Fast JMS is slowly but surely going to be dropping into clutches of Slow Seamus at the time, but Miggins jumps into pit lane, so is he going to be able to get back into the lead of the race as the guys enter the final bits of the lap? Or are they, or is Miggins, no, Miggins has jumped back out into the lead, so he's planned it to his advantage. Tux there, followed by Donny, followed by Fast Seamus, and of course Slow Seamus, followed by Rise Remix. Dutch gets a bit wide, which is like Craig to jump to the blue and white Aston Martin versus the Monster Energy Aston Martin. This is going to be a battle and a half, as Craig tries to jump onto Duds for potentially 7th place at the moment. Is he going to make the move, or is he going to be suffering? No, Craig thinks about it. Yes, he makes the move. Duds has to tuck him behind, so that's going to be very interesting indeed. As I say, Craig and Duds have a bit of a tap, but fair play, they've actually kept it together. Craden is now in 11th with Les Pants and Percy in 9th and 10th. Broken Legacy 12th. Hoppers is 13th at the moment, but Miggins, fair play to him. Look at him, he's out on his own. Tux and Donny is still battling for 2nd and 3rd, followed by Fast JMS and Slow Seamus. And then obviously Rise Remix and Craig and Duds potentially going to push on for a bit. But it will be potentially easy enough to see what happens. Percy in 10th, followed by Craden and Broken Legacy, and of course Hoppers. But we've got this, obviously Tux having a bit of a not an issue, but he's having a bit of a jive. As Donny tries to catch up to him, so it will be very interesting to see what happens, as Fast JMS and Slow Seamus now are trying to catch each other up, so anything can happen, as it will be potentially interesting. You've got Rise Remix trying to chase down none other than Slow Seamus. Craig and Duds are still now battling. Les Pants has a bit of a gap from Percy, as you can see. Craden's slowly but surely catching up to Percy, but he's a bit far behind. Obviously Broken Legacy there, potentially passing on to trying to get Hoppers. Poor old Hoppers is 13th for the moment, but fair play, he's not giving up. Donny and Tux for 2nd and 3rd. Yes, Donny tucks back in. That's JMS now is under threat from Slow Seamus at the moment. But it looks like that Slow Seamus in that Irish colours car potentially going to be pushing on for potentially 4th place by the end of the lap. But anything can happen. CRT Miggins is fast approaching to lap poor old Hoppers. I think Hoppers has struggled with tyre wear, but Donny and Tux potentially are going to be out in force. But this is going to be really interesting before the end of the lap. So Slow Seamus there, potentially pushing on fast JMS. Now has Rise Remix potentially in his mirrors. And obviously Craig and Duds, followed by Les Pants. And of course Percy and Craydon. Broken Legacy now under threat from CRT Miggins to potentially get past for a lap. Poor old Hoppers is struggling, but you know, never mind, he's doing always locked up a bit. He's locked up a bit going into there, but you know, he's not giving up as Miggins takes potentially tries to get past Broken Legacy to put a lap. Donny there, and now Slow Seamus gets past. I believe Tux drops down to 7th after a bit of a mishap, which is our Rise Remix and Fast JMS to potentially swamp Craig at the moment. Craig's under a lot of pressure from Rise Remix at the moment, but anything can happen within this race, and as you know, you've got Tux and Duds battling. So Tux and Duds, yes, that's right, still battling. Tux still in 7th, followed by Dux. And then there's Pants, followed by Percy and Craydon, followed by Broken Legacy and Miggins. Poor old Hoppers goes wide out towards the final turn. But, you know, anything can happen. You got Donny still in potentially 2nd place at the moment, followed by Slow Seamus. Fast JMS has a bit of a gap now from Craig, while Rise Remix fills Craig's mirrors up into potentially now up into 6th place, which will allow, probably if he gets the move done, allow him to overtake Craig for 5th place, as they do along the start-finish straight. There's a lot of tyre squeal. That's Slow Seamus, Craig and Rise Remix still battling for 6th and 5th and 6th, followed by Duds and Les Pants. Tux now drops down to 9th, followed by Percy and Craydon and Broken Legacy, and of course Hoppers. Bless him, oh, Donny spins. Let's have a look what happened. Let's briefly just see what happens. Goes into the latter part of the lap here. Oh, he just gets it on the curb, which now allows now Slow Seamus up into 2nd, potentially Fast JMS into 3rd, and then Craig has to. I thought he was going to slow down, but obviously Craig gets into 4th. Rise Remix in 5th now. Donny now 6th. Well, as I say, anything can happen. Donny now has a penalty. He can't overtake. Duds in 7th. Les Pants in 8th, followed by Tux, followed by Percy, followed by Craydon and Broken Legacy, and obviously Hoppers runs up the field at the moment. Fast JMS and Craig and Rise Remix still having this battle. It's going to be very interesting. Donny there in the background, lurking in the background, but Craig gets through on Rise Remix for potentially now 5th place, with Donny now still 6th. Duds and then Les Pants and obviously Tux and obviously Percy, followed by Craydon, Broken Legacy and Hoppers. But CRT Miggins at the moment, Slow Seamus out there at the moment. Fast JMS 3rd. Craig now in 4th, followed by Rise Remix, followed by Donny, and obviously Duds potentially now in 6th plus. Yeah, Donny in 6th, followed by Duds in 7th, but Rise Remix still with that penalty. Les Pants potentially in 8th, followed by Tux and of course Percy, followed by Craydon. Broken Legacy gets a bit crossed up, but I believe that's okay because he's still a bit miles ahead of Hoppers, as Miggins is going to catch him again, I believe, or is that just how it is going to be? But at the moment, poor old Hoppers gets lapped by Slow Seamus. Craydon jumps into pit lane. I believe Craydon has left it a bit late to get another set of tyres. I think his tyres have gone off slightly. But poor old Hoppers at the moment, he's obviously, like I say, he was new to the series, but he'd be okay. But Miggins at the moment is eking out that lap, so Seamus in second place, followed by Fast JMS. Fast JMS is going to put a lap on Hoppers very shortly, but anything can happen. Craig's also there. Craig runs wide, which is potentially Rise's remix with his penalties. Still can't overtake because, you know, it's going to be very hard, but it's going to be really interesting to see what happens. Poor old Hoppers at the moment must be thinking, what have we got to do to try and get a break? But, you know, fair play to the lad. But obviously Craig there has Rise remix. Oh, Craig locks up, which is Rise remix back into fourth. Donny's now into fifth because with Craig's misfortune, that's now allowed Duds to catch him up slightly, but surely anything can happen, as I say. But Craig's also there, essentially going to be pushing on for a bit. Craig's struggling as Duds gets alongside him. Anything can happen, but it is going to be very interesting. I say Les Pants there as well, followed by Tux, followed by Percy and Craven, Broken Legacy, and of course Hoppers. So fair play to CRT Miggins at the moment, Slow Seamus in second, and Fast JMS in third at the moment. Obviously Rise Remix is now going to put a lap on Hoppers, providing Hoppers gets out the way very quickly. He will obviously have essentially Donny and Rise Remix behind him at the moment, but anything can happen, and it will be Rise Remix. I don't know what happens to Rise Remix. He's trying to make a move on Hoppers, trying to get Hoppers trying to move out the way, I think. Hoppers gets a bit wide, gets crossed up, they both go off. Hoppers goes off, but then I believe Donny also catches him, so Craig's also now there, potentially trying to catch, will now try and catch up to Donny, but at the moment Craig is now fifth, followed by Rise Remix, followed by Duds and Les Pants, and then Tux, and of course Percy, followed by Craden and Broken Legacy, and of course Hoppers. But at the moment CRT Miggins will come through to take first win. Slow Seamus, Les Pants comes in 8th, followed by Tux. So that'll be Tux and Percy, followed by Craven, Broken Legacy, and of course Hoppers potentially finishing 12th, 13th and 10th, 11th and 9th and 8th. But look at this, there's still a battle brewing between Rise Remix and Duds there. CRT Miggins takes the first victory of the evening, followed by Slow Seamus, but I believe Slow Seamus in the Irish coloured Aston Martin there, potentially now going to be pushing on, so he'll be coming home in second. So CRT Miggins in the PlayStation Aston Martin at the moment potentially pushes on, so Slow Seamus in second, followed by Fast JMS, followed by Donny and Craig. That's also, I believe, Duds has got past Rise Remix, but Duds gets a bit crossed up. Rise Remix also is there, he gets past Duds, so Duds runs wide. Ooh, bit interesting. Craig comes home in fifth, followed by, I believe, followed by Rise Remix and Duds there. Whew, so that was a bit fraught for that race. Next race and the last race of the evening from 2 weeks ago is at Tokyo. I believe it is in the wet, but we shall see what happens within each of the race, and we'll see what happens in this one, and then it will be potentially very interesting to see what happens. So just give me a second. Just give me a moment, guys. I'm waiting for it to download, and then we'll get on with the last race of the evening from 2 weeks ago. As you can tell, my voice is going. Let's have a look. Almost there. So, this is where it got really interesting. It's in the dark and it is raining, so we're on the east inner loop, which, funny enough, was quite a bit of an eventful race, should I say, for some of the guys here. But we'll see what happens. Obviously, certain ways and certain things may have happened. But as I go through, I'll go through essentially the grid in a moment or two. But we'll see what happens. So at the moment, just to get the grid up for the reverse grid, Hoppers starts on pole position, followed by Broken Legacy, followed by Craden, followed by Percy and Tux, followed by Les Pants and Duds. Then you got Rise Remix, and of course Craig, followed by Donny, followed by Fast JMS, followed by Slow Seamus and CRT Miggins at the back of the field. So we'll get ready for the race to begin. This was probably a very interesting race itself. Due to the nature and the wet conditions, revs are building, as are mine. So let's get ready for a start. Let's see what happens further back as we get ready for the last race of the evening here at Tokyo in wet conditions. And it is dark as well, so it's going to really add to this, spice the action up. Hoppers leads the race at the moment, gets a decent start in that BMW. Obviously it will allow him to potentially lead into the dark. This is going to be very interesting. Hoppers there in the HKS, followed by Craden, followed by Les Pants and Broken Legacy. Hoppers already has that eking out the gap. It's so hard before the spray. Look at this. This is going to be fantastic. But they'll break for the hairpin. Hoppers still leads the race at the moment. Obviously Hoppers is doing a fantastic job in the wet at the moment. He's leading the race, followed by Tux, followed by Broken Legacy, followed by Craden. Craden clips the wall, which has allowed Les Pants up into potentially 5th place, followed by Donny, followed by Slow Seamus, and of course Craig and Craden, followed by Rise Remix, and of course Percy, Duds and CRT Miggins, and of course Faster JMS at the moment. Hoppers still leads the race under threat from Tux at the moment in that Peugeot, but Hoppers is putting the car where he wants, but he's lost ground to Tux there. But Tux has got the lead of the race. Hoppers obviously at the moment in 2nd place. Fair play to the guy, he's obviously in 2nd place in his only 2nd event. At the moment Tux is still leading the race. Broken Legacy and Donny clipped the wall there, but this is going to be very interesting as we've got Donny versus Les Pants, and of course Craig and Slow Seamus, and of course Craden, and of course Percy in that Ferrari, and Rise Remix, Faster JMX and JMS, and Duds are having a bit of a battle, but Tux at the moment going on board with Tux around this tight and twisty Tokyo street circuit. He's clipped the wall there, he's clipped the wall. Hoppers in the BMW trying to stare down the barrel. But this is very interesting. You got Broken Legacy and Donny. So Broken Legacy in the Audi TT, followed by Donny and Les Pants, and Craig and Slow Seamus. It's going to be very interesting. You got CRT Miggins essentially in the battle. You got Duds and Fast JMS. You've got Tux there in that Peugeot. Hoppers in second, still holding off Broken Legacy. Donny and Les Pants, and of course Craig are having a bit of that battle. This is going to be very interesting. We'll just go back up to potentially what will happen here. I believe Hoppers is now going to gain onto Tux. Let's see what happens. Tux here. He's doing fantastic. Hoppers potentially still in second place at the moment, drifts around the hairpin, but he's got a lot. There's a lot of cars. Craig versus Donny versus, I believe Les Pants got spun out on the exit of the hairpin. Yes, he did. So he's dropped a bit of bottle as Miggins and of course Rise Remix versus Percy, but Percy's trying to chase down, I believe, so Seamus in that Citroen. Oh, he's struggling a bit at the moment. I believe potentially. Just bear with me 1 second. Hoppers is doing well in second place at the moment, trying to chase down Tux. So you got Broken Legacy chasing down Craig and Donny, Slow Seamus, and CRT Miggins potentially pushing on Rise Remix, Percy, Fast JMS, Duds, Craydon, and of course there's Pants. But Tux at the moment trying to hold off. Tux makes, Broken Legacy and Hoppers have a bit of a touch, but I believe that's allowed Hoppers still into second place at the moment. So Hoppers is doing well, very well indeed. Broken Legacy, Craig and Miggins are there, followed by Slow Seamus. So this is going to be very interesting. The Citroen versus the McLaren and Porsche Cayman are going to be alongside, but I believe at the moment Broken Legacy and Donny have a bit of a tap going into the final bend. But Broken Legacy still trying to chase after Hoppers in that BMW. Hoppers is doing exceptionally well, but anything can happen. You've got Miggins and Craig still battles galore between these guys. Hoppers at the moment still eking out that gap, but he's going to try and catch up to that gap of Tux in a little moment. But you know, it's going to be very interesting as we get going with CRT Miggins followed by Slow Seamus. But there's a couple of cars battling behind. I believe Hoppers at the moment. Donny's got through. Broken Legacy and Craig is going to be there. This is going to be very interesting. But what are we going to see? Donny, Craig, Broken Legacy. They all run wide. They all run wide. They all run wide, I believe. Potentially now, this is going to be very interesting. Hoppers now into 6th place. So the poor old Hoppers in the BMW is swamped, but he's doing okay at the moment. You know, anything can happen. Percy followed by Slow Seamus and Fast JMS, followed by Duds, followed by Craydon and Les Pants. But this is you know, Tux is still out there, followed by Donny in that Ferrari. And it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Broken Legacy, CRT Miggins, Craig versus Hoppers and Remix, and of course Percy. But anything can happen. Hoppers at the moment in that BMW probably holding on for dear life, more chance than he ever does. But at the moment you got CRT Miggins and Craig having a battle. You got Rise Remix pushes Hoppers into the wall, but Hoppers is not going to give up. This is where it's going to get fraught. This is where it's going to get fraught for these guys. CRT Miggins is in 5th place, followed by Broken Legacy and of course Craig ahead of him. Obviously Donny is going to try and catch up to potentially catch up to Tux, but anything can happen. You got Rise Remix now push his way past Hoppers. Hoppers there holding off Slow Seamus. So Hoppers at the moment in HKS BMW potentially pushing on. This is going to be very fraught, because not only does the BMW struggle in the wet, but Hoppers is proving a point to these guys. You know, he's proving like, oh, this is exactly what he wants. Got Percy, followed by Fast JMS, followed by Duds, followed by Craydon, and of course there's Pants. Tux there going to be eating his lap, but this is going to be very interesting, because you've got CRT, Miggins, Craig, Broken Legacy, and Rise Remix, followed by Hoppers and Slow Seamus, essentially pushing up to under the road. But what is going to happen, obviously, into the wet section? Rise Remix, Slow Seamus on. Potentially Hoppers has a damn break there, but Hoppers is going to potentially, it's going to be, they're all run wide. Somehow Hoppers escapes that. Hoppers escapes that into potentially now 7th place. But what is going on? Hoppers is up into 8th place still at the moment. He's obviously done very well. You know, the gangle of cars obviously we're expecting a lot of things, but you've got Donny and Fast and Tux still there, Miggins still there, Craig, Broken Legacy, and of course Rise Remix, and of course Duds. Duds is going to be under a lot of pressure from Hoppers in that BMW very shortly. But look at this is the nature of this track. Duds flashes the lights out of Rise Remix. Tries to put him off Duds there, and do a lot of threat from the BMW of Hoppers. Slow Seamus in 9th, slowly but surely going to be putting Hoppers, pins it into the wall, but he regains it. But is Hoppers going to make a move? But you've got to be careful here at Toyko. You've got Tux still leading the race in that Peugeot, followed by Donny, followed by Miggins, followed by Craig, and followed by Broken Legacy and Rise Linux, and of course Hoppers in 8th place, followed by Slow Seamus, followed by Percy. As I say, anything can happen in this race. Fast JMS and Les Pants are still eking out that gap, but at the moment there's a lot going to happen. So you got Donny in that Ferrari, followed by Miggins. We'll go on board with Miggins in the McLaren for the time being. Look at the spray. This is going to be very interesting. Craig there in 4th place, followed by Broken Legacy and Rise Remix, followed by Duds. Slow Seamus and Hoppers are now battling. Potentially happening with a battle. Hoppers obviously now concedes to Slow Seamus, but he's on Slow Seamus' gearbox. Hoppers obviously new to the series, but obviously look at him alongside Slow Seamus as to go out of the tunnel. This is going to be really weird. Obviously Hoppers there, so Seamus and Hoppers have a bit of a prang, but Hoppers isn't affected. Seamus runs a bit, whoa, Hoppers gets caught up in that, which is a bit unfortunate. I think fair play to Hoppers though, he didn't know which way Seamus is going, but Craydon's also behind him at the moment. There's Pants, followed by Fast JMS and Slow Seamus now at the back of the field. Tux, fair play to him. He's leading the race, followed by CRT Miggins, followed by Donny and Craig, and obviously Rise Remix, and of course Duds and potentially Broken Legacy, followed by Percy, and now Hoppers in 9th. Hoppers gets a bit of a fishtail. Craydon's also there, but there's Pants potentially going to be pushing on for Craydon, and Fast JMS and Slow Seamus forming up the rear at the moment. But this has been fantastic stuff. Craig in 4th, followed by obviously Faster Remix, or Rise Remix should I say, followed by Duds, and of course Broken Legacy and Percy. Hoppers holding on for dear life in that BMW, followed by Craydon and Les Pants and Fast JMS, and of course Slow Seamus. But anything can happen. Tux is still eking out that lead at the moment, followed by CRT Miggins in the McLaren. You got Donny in the Ferrari, then you got Craig in the Cayman. But you've got Rise Remix in 5th, followed by Duds and Broken Legacy and Percy, and of course Hoppers still doing a stellar job, keeping Craydon behind him. Obviously with Les Pants and of course Slow Seamus potentially pushing on. Fast JMS got past, Slow Seamus has got past him potentially for that, but anything, as I say, anything can happen. Tuck's there eking out that gap. Miggins versus Donny versus Craig, followed by Rise Remix and of course Duds, and of course Broken Legacy and Percy. Hoppers at the moment though will go on board with the BMW driver as he's in the tunnel section here. He's obviously enjoying these wet conditions. Obviously got Craydon trying to overtake him, but is Craydon going to run deep? Because Hoppers, if I remember rightly, is going to be a master at this hairpin. Craydon runs deep, Hoppers is still there. Hoppers obviously knocks the back of that Porsche Cayman. You got Les Pants followed by Slow Seamus, followed by Fast JMS. But Miggins now is all over the backs of Tux here. The McLaren versus the Peugeot. I'm going board with the Peugeot. Look at the spray that's been kicked off. But this is going to be brilliantly interesting, and I can't wait to see what happens within this race. But I'll tell you what, Tux and Miggins, they have a bit of a touch. Miggins gets through. Donny there, still in third place, followed by Craig, followed by Rise Remix, but Donny is under the clutches of Craig in that Porsche Cayman, followed by Duds. And of course Rise Remix, Broken Legacy, Craydon still in ninth at the moment. Hoppers at the moment under threat from Les Pants. But is Les Pants going to put Hoppers under pressure, or do you reckon Craydon's going to make a mistake? We shall see. Les Pants gets crossed up. The other BMW ahead at the moment is Hoppers, and Hoppers is going to potentially push on Slow Seamus in 12th, Fast JMS in 13th at the moment. But Miggins is eking out that gap from Tux at the moment. Craydon now has Donny in his sights, but then Rise Remix potentially pushes on. Look at the rain bouncing on the tarmac. This is a bit unfortunate. You've got Broken Legacy and Percy. Craydon there, obviously trying to hold off. Hoppers goes into the wall, which allows Les Pants to try and catch up. Slow Seamus is also lurking in the background, so the Irishman is lurking in the background of these two in front. But Hoppers obviously knows how to work this circuit at the moment. It's going to be very interesting. Les Pants and of course Hoppers, followed by Slow Seamus. But this is going to be fraught. So let's see what happens to Hoppers there. Going to make it 3 wide. This is going to be very interesting. Les Pants versus Slow Seamus versus Hoppers. This is going to be potentially interesting. Hoppers obviously likes the favourite overtaking manoeuvre. Hoppers' favourite overtaking manoeuvre is coming up though. But is that because Hoppers now down in 11th, there's Pants in 12th, Fast JMS still in 13th place at the moment. Slow Seamus followed by Craydon and obviously Percy and Broken Legacy and Duds. Rise Remix now trying to chase down Craig for potentially 4th place. Donny still in 3rd place, followed by Tux. Miggins still out in front. But it's all about this battle between Les Pants, Hoppers and Slow Seamus and potentially Craydon at the moment. So as I say, anything can happen, and anything will happen here at Tokyo. So Hoppers at the moment holding on for dear life. He's actually done very well this evening, fair play to him. Obviously the wet conditions are suiting him and potentially adapting to his style, even though he bends it into the wall a few times just there, which has allowed Les Pants to try and catch up. But you know, anything can happen in this race here at Tokyo. Slow Seamus still in 10th place, followed by Craydon and Percy and of course Broken Legacy. Duds and Rise Remix now have a bit of a catching up to get to Craig. Donny's also there. Tux is in 2nd, followed by CRT Miggins. But the McLaren at the moment, Les Pants and Hoppers are still battling away. But anything can happen in this race. I'll tell you what, if we see what happens, obviously Slow Seamus and of course Craydon battle. Craydon's trying to escape I believe he's trying to escape. Slow Seamus just is, as Hoppers is under threat from Les Pants at the moment. But as I say, anything can happen in this race. Les Pants there, going alongside Hoppers. So Les Pants takes Hoppers for potentially 12th, 11th place, but Hoppers is alongside. So the HKS BMW versus the PlayStation BMW. But obviously Hoppers is overtaking. Hoppers is overtaking. Spot is coming up. But has he got it? No, he hasn't. Les Pants there. But Les Pants runs a bit wide. That's going to allow Hoppers to try and catch up to him. But you've got Les Pants, just had a bit of that. Fast JMS there, still in 13th. CRT Miggins still leading the race. You've got Tux, followed by Craig, followed by Donny now. Craig's now got past Donny. And then you've got Rise Remix, followed by Duds, followed by Broken Legacy. And of course Slow Seamus is also looking in the background with Craig and Percy, and of course Les Pants now has Hoppers all over the back of him. So Hoppers is obviously on a mission after a bit of an early mistake. But obviously Hoppers now is potentially going to be pushing on. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens here. If anything happens, Les Pants potentially trying to fend off the HKS BMW. Fast JMS is also there. Got CRT Miggins still leading the race, followed by Tux, Craig and Donny, and of course Rise Remix are in the mix. You've got Duds, Broken Legacy, Craden, Percy now, Slow Seamus and Percy are battling. I believe Hoppers has now got past Les Pants. Yes, he has. He's got past Les Pants for 11th place, but Les Pants is still to have a bit of a collision going down the ramp, but Hoppers isn't giving up. So Fast JMS is also there, looking in the background at the TT. So the BMW's holding up the LDTT at the moment, but obviously Hoppers knows this circuit very well, by the looks of it, from what he was proving. But Hoppers is going to be under a lot of threat from Fast JMS. But I tell you what, it's going to be very interesting going to the latter part of this race. But I tell you what, Hoppers is now going to be potentially catching up to these guys. Les Pants there, still in 12th. Hoppers and Fast JMS. As Fast JMS tries to make a move, but Hoppers is also there. Hoppers is there. He's 13th at the moment, but you know, anything can happen between these guys. But I'll tell you what, it's going to be very interesting. Percy, Craden and Broken Legacy. And Slow Seamus has got into 7th. Duds and Donny are ahead, followed by Craig and of course Rise Remix, as well as Tux and Miggins. But as I say, anything can happen. Craden still under threat from Percy and trying to put Broken Legacy under threat. Hoppers is now back up to 12th from Fast JMS. But is this going to be potentially interesting? And who knows what will happen within the last race of the evening here at Toyko. Hoppers eking out a gap between himself and Fast JMS at the moment. But Percy and that Ferrari, followed by Craden and Broken Legacy. These guys are on top form at the moment. But anything can, as I say, anything can happen. But Slow Seamus in the 6th, followed by Duds and Donny versus Craig and Rise Remix, Tux and Miggins. Obviously Hoppers in that BMW, the HKS BMW, is doing very well. But there's not really much battles. Obviously Percy and Craden and obviously Broken Legacy are trying to battle. But is this where it could end up being potentially a mess? But you never know. This is going to be very interesting indeed, as I say. I don't know what's happening at the moment, but you know, this battle between Craden, Percy and obviously Broken Legacy potentially is pushing on a bit. But you know, this is going to be fantastic. Percy in the Ferrari is obviously all over the back of Craydon, and Craydon's all over the back of Broken Legacy. Ooh, this is going to be very close. Let's see what goes on. Got Broken Legacy, Craydon, and of course Percy, who's going to be out on front. Oh, the guys are three wide. Craydon, Broken Legacy, and Percy there. Get on a bit. There's Pants and Fast JMS and Hoppers have a bit of a ding-dong battle. Potentially Hoppers gets a bit crossed up, but Hoppers is not giving up. Fast JMS gets past Hoppers, but Hoppers knows a bit of a battle is going to brew. So anything can happen between Fast JMS and of course Hoppers. There's Pantsies up the road. Craydon is 10th, Broken Legacy 9th, Percy 8th. Slow Seamus still in Citron in 7th, followed by Donny, Hotbot, Duds and Craig, and of course Donny now under remix, and Tux are still nearly enough there. But it's going to be very interesting. Fast JMS is still under threat from Hoppers in that BMW at the moment, but as I say, anything can happen as Fast JMS clips the wall there. But yes, it's going to be very interesting within the last couple of laps. There's a yellow flag. Craydon's had a bit of an issue there, which is allowed it to be a bit of a battle, but we'll see what happens. But anything can happen within this race, as I say. See what happens with Craydon and Fast JMS now potentially under threat from Hoppers, because Hoppers is near the back of the field, but he's obviously gaining onto these guys. It's obviously going to be very interesting to see what happens within the last couple of laps, to see what happens. But as I say, anything can happen, and it will be very interesting to see what happens. But as I say, anything can happen in this race, and I'll tell you what, Fast JMS is going to be under threat from, obviously, well, Craydon's going to be under threat from Fast JMS. But is this going to be the battle of the race? You know, anything can happen. As Fast JMS there potentially gets alongside Craydon, but he goes a bit deep into the hairpin. Craydon's also alongside, but this is going to be amazing stuff within the action. But yes, it's going to be very interesting. Hoppers now has fortunately struggled to keep up to see what happens, but you never know. I believe obviously Tux and Craig are putting each other under pressure, so Tux is also there in the Peugeot, so as Tux hits the wall, but that's going to be a bit unfortunate. You know, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Craig there and Tux have a bit of a touch, whereas Remix also gets through. But it will be potentially very interesting to see what happens within what happens there. So obviously, you know, it will be potentially interesting with a couple of minutes to go in this race. You've got Duds followed by Slow Seamus, followed by Percy and Broken Legacy. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens within the last couple of laps, but obviously, as I say, Craydon, Fast JMS is still having a bit of a battle. Hoppers is going to be lurking in the background. As I say, anything can happen, but you never know with these people potentially pushing on for potentially a lot of things. But you've got Craydon versus Fast JMS. Obviously Hoppers is trying to look in the background and potentially do a lot of potentially could be doing a lot of damage, but Fast JMS and Craydon I'm going to battle towards the end. This could be potentially what goes on, but obviously anything can happen. But, you know, Fast JMS, Hopper's just lurking in the background now. He's obviously suffering now. He was doing so well, but Miggins there is also there. You've got Rise Remix as well, Donny, and of course Tuck still battling it. It's going to be very interesting, as I say. Donny and Duds are behind, so Seamus and Percy, of course Broken Legacy and Les Pants. I believe Craven and Fast JMS are also there. As I say, it's going to be very interesting, as Hopper's now is struggling, but he's going to catch up to these guys because they're making a bit of mistakes. Or they're going to make a mistake. It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. But obviously Craven is obviously there. Hopper's clips the wall on the way down, but he will potentially do very well this evening. Broken Legacy at the moment in 9th, followed by Craven and Fast JMS. Hopper's is obviously lurking in the background, but you know, anything can happen with a lap to go, so you know, as I say, anything can happen. We got Rise Remix followed by Tux, followed by Craig. It's going to be very interesting between the last couple of sectors. So you got Donny, Duds, Slow Seamus, Percy and Broken Legacy, Les Pants, Fast JMS and of course Craden, so they're going to be battling. Les Pants bins it into the wall, which potentially probably allows Hoppers. Hoppers does exactly the same, but almost chases down Les Pants for potentially 12th place. But yes, it's going to be very interesting into the last half of the lap. Potentially now Miggins, Craig's got past Rise Remix for potentially 2nd place. Rise Remix taps Craig into the rear quarter, going into the hairpin, which now allows Rise Remix back up into 2nd place, and Craig in 3rd, Tux is in 4th, Donny 5th, Duds in 2nd, Slow Seamus 7th, Percy in 8th at the moment. Broken Legacy coming home in 9th, Craden and Fast JMS, followed by, I believe, Les Pants and Hoppers. So yes, Les Pants and Hoppers, the BMWs, now having issues towards the end of the race. But I'll tell you what, this has been very interesting to see what happens within a lot of things, but anything can happen. It would be potentially very interesting to see what happens. Obviously CRT Miggins is going to be taking out another victory in the McLaren, but yes, Rise Remix, Craig and Tux, followed by Donny and of course Duds, Slow Seamus and of course Percy and Broken Legacy, Craden and Fast JMS. Les Pants and Hoppers now are potentially going to be on course, potentially round out the lap, but Miggins will take another victory in the rookies here at Tokyo. So the McLaren will now cross the line in 1st place, followed by Rise Remix and of course Craig, and potentially going to be very interesting to see what happens within with obviously Craig and Rise Remix. And then you've got Donny, Duds and Tux. Yes, Duds and Tux are having a battle again. And then obviously Slow Seamus, followed by Percy, followed by Broken Legacy and Craden, Fast JMS, and there's Pants. Hoppers is binned it in the wall. But you know, fair play to him. You know, he's not giving up. He did very well leading the race early on in the race. Potentially clips the bollards there going down the hill, but you know, fair play to him. He's obviously going to be very interesting to see what happens within the future for Hoppers, because you know, he's new to racing here in the MRC GTTCC, and it would be very interesting. Obviously Broken Legacy and Craden, followed by Fast JMS, followed by Les Punt, and then of course Hoppers takes out 13th. So cheers guys, I've really enjoyed doing the commentary for MRC this evening, even though it has been potentially a very long and potentially interesting evening. But yes, I've been Hoppers, and I'll see you guys next week for MRC commentary as well. So take care and good night.